Hello and welcome to Zerbinator's Horror Nights. This is the show that brings the air into scare and the right into fright and the error into your terror. I'm your host, Zerb, and with me tonight is my great friend and my great co-host, the Mike to the G. Mike, what up in it, B?
What's happening there, Zerb?
Not much, doggy. You and I have a lot of complaining to do. Tonight we discuss the Paul Leyden film, Come Back to Me, 2014.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
It would be a little unkind to present this without just a word of friendly warning.
Children of the night, what music they make.
It deals with the two great mysteries of creation.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Life and death.
Your mother sit here with this cat.
I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain,
Would you like to leave a message?
now's your chance to, well, we warn you.
Zerbinator's Horror Nights with your hosts, Zerbinator and Mike G.
We will spoil the heck out of this movie, so if you wish, please watch the movie first and then come on back. But if you don't care, stay right there. Mwah, 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 mwah. First, I was going to go with the obvious because you're in Florida and I'm up here in Connecticut. But let's talk about how many times we tried to record this show, including tonight.
5 times.
5 times. I have had a cold, a bronchial spasm, stubbed my toe, pulled my finger, and a sound came out of my butt. And then tonight we had a bad connection, and you had Daytona, Disneyland.
I didn't go to Disneyland.
New car, boat, fishing.
Daytona is Disneyland. For me, at least.
So, any snow?
No, none whatsoever. Nope. They'd had it up in the Panhandle, but not down where I am. I'm in South Florida, so about 4 hours north. I think they had a light dusting, like through up around Jacksonville, above Jacksonville, right at the Georgia state line, yada yada, all that area.
Is that a common thing, or is that
It gets a lot colder up there because
mountains?
No,
or?
there's no mountain. No, Florida's flat, man. I mean, when I say it's flat, it's flat. What happens is the way the fronts usually come through, and the low pressure comes down from up north, bringing the cold air. The high pressure usually stays around Orlando-ish and below to keep us warm, and they tend to they can get colder. I mean, they get freeze warnings and everything up there. So it's kind of crazy. I'm glad I live South Florida.
So, being in South Florida, have you witnessed any temperatures below 71?
Yes. Yeah.
And do people panic? Do they run?
It's kind of funny, man.
Grab a jacket?
Because also, if it really, they do. It's my wife and I laugh about it constantly because it'll get like 65, 60 degrees, and I'm still wearing shorts, and a short sleeve shirt, and because to me, man, that's spring weather, and people are literally in their North Face jackets and their boots, in their UGG boots, and and sometimes they're wearing a scarf, and if it gets in the 50s and the 40s, it's Armageddon down here.
See, that's the day we're looking for, a 50 or a 40 degree day, so that we can all just chill out.
I know.
We're minus 15, we had minus 29 one night.
Yeah, that's cold, man.
Oh, that's to the bone cold where you walk out and you instantly ache everywhere inside. Any football injury going back to preschool recess,
right?
You're going to ache from that in this 25.
Yeah, I was fishing with a husband and wife down here from Nova Scotia a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, yeah,
and it was like negative 45. And I was like, and we're sitting in, and it's 65 now on the water. I'll wear pants, when it's 65 because it's chilly, because it means it was about 51 in the morning. And, you're doing 40, 50 miles an hour. It feels like 30.
Yeah.
Not that cold, but it was windy that day. So, I was wearing a hoodie. I don't own a jacket. I own one pair of jeans, and I own a couple pairs of fishing pants. And then for my office job, when I'm in the office, I wear khakis. Those are the only pants I own. Other than that, I'm in shorts any other time. As soon as I get home, I'm right in shorts.
So you're a 7-day Leviist?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Man, 9 times out of 10, I mean, people that are in my office that have been down here for a long time, we had a really cold spell where we were in the low or high 30s into the mid 40s for like a week. And I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt, and they're like, where's your jacket? And I was like, I don't own a jacket,
Well, you're from D.C., so you're okay. You're not a Floridian. Really, you're a Floridian now, maybe.
Well, I'm getting. I mean, before when that wasn't really cold, I mean, it was chillier this time. So each time we have it, because I am getting so used to this nice weather that we get down here, it makes it more difficult for me. I mean, I'm not going to be one of those people that panic and go grab a North Face jacket when,
Not for at least another 10 years.
Yeah. So, like I said, we had a little cold front come through today with some rain, and tomorrow we're, next couple of days we're going to be, I think, like 65, and which is fine. It's
all right. Well, as long as you got plenty of water, plenty of batteries.
Yeah, you have to understand we're smarties. Where we live down here, where most people get 4 seasons, we get 2. We get spring, and then we get summer.
Yeah.
90% of our year is spring-like weather, and then when you get into August, maybe late July, August, and the first part of September, that's really our summer months. That's really when it's warm, but it's no warmer than when we lived in D.C. It's really not. So
yeah, D.C. gets humid now. Virginia, ugh.
Oh, yeah. Well,
they changed it since we've been there.
And now, tonight's feature.
Now, before I ask this question, because this is what I figured the movie... I did make it to about halfway. And I figured this is what the movie's about. So I'm going to ask you this question. I have a feeling I'm wrong with that look on your face. I know you had that look on your face. Hey, Mike, have you ever died and didn't know it?
No, not that I'm aware of. I've died in a dream before. So tell
me.
Well, I had a dream. I don't know how long ago it was, but the old saying that they say if you die in your dream, you never wake up.
I was just about to say that.
And I dreamed that I died, and I didn't. It was just. I died. No, I didn't wake up. That was the weird thing. I used to have this...
In the dream.
Yeah, in the dream, I didn't wake up. I used to have this recurring dream where somehow I was on top of a building and I fell. And just before I hit the ground, it was one of those, I woke up. One time, I didn't do that. It just went... And everything went black. I mean, literally, like I died. And the next thing you know, I'm hovering and I see who's at my casket, at my viewing.
Freaky.
It was very freaky. And when I woke up, I went, oh my God, it was a freak. Because you wake up and you're patting yourself going, what was that? What was that? It really freaked me out.
I don't know if I think I've had a similar dream, but I got hit by a car.
Right.
And I remember being like in an ER situation, and then I knew I was dreaming because I think I saw myself walking around in the hallways of the hospital or something, and I thought, okay, well, at least, this can't be real, because if I just got hit and I'm broken-legged, why would I be walking or something like that, having that lucid thought thing going on.
Right.
The rational dreaming or whatever the hell you call it. But now I have to ask again, and I'll reinstate, I did not see this entire movie. But before I give you all that crap, let me be kind, because you are my co-host. What was your first reaction to seeing this film?
I liked it. And the reason why I liked it, it's not the best movie in the world, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm going to say that up front. I wouldn't say it's a B movie, but I wouldn't say it's an A movie. It's somewhere in between that fine line, because you've...
A minus B plus?
Well, you've really got some big stars in it. I mean,
Yeah, you do.
honestly. Okay, so that's where it, it's not, they're not necessarily A-list actors, but they're not B-list actors either, because I mean, these, they've been on TV and they've been in other movies, so they're recognized stars. And the acting wasn't bad. The story, I like the twists and turns of the movie. It gets a little predictable, but at the end, it really and that's why I really was encouraging you to try to finish the movie to see the ending, so that you would go, oh wow, and obviously I'll tell you about it tonight, so you'll be like, oh man, and then if you go back and watch it, you do. If you don't, that's great too. But that's my take on the film.
I've got about 30 minutes to go on it, and I think it's an hour 10.
Something like that. Yeah, something 90 minutes, something like that.
So I've watched, I made it about halfway through, and my first reaction to the film was, the woman in this movie looked like somebody that was in my past that I don't agree with.
I got you.
Let me put that in a sentence that's fair on the podcast, though.
He hates the chick. There, I summed it up.
I'll just leave it there. Okay. So, very good. I appreciate that.
Could not resist. You just kind of cracked that door open. I had to come.
I sure did.
Kicking it in, buddy.
There. And her acting matches that person's mannerisms. And the more I watched, the more I got irritated. And it's like, I'm guessing that this actress in real life is exactly like the person I'm talking about, because every move and twist and turn and just reaction to everything I expected out of her. So she didn't do nothing for me for the movie, to the point that I got tired of watching her try to act. I couldn't stand her.
Well, I'll tell you this: she was on Mad Men for 2 years, and nothing like what she is in the movie.
Oh, I'm sure she can do. I don't know if she was supposed to play a flake, but it killed me for the movie, and the storyline was taking a while to get going. You told me that. You told me to give it a chance.
Right.
I couldn't. I tried so hard, and I did try a couple times during the 5 times that we were attempting to do this show. Except for the last one, because we just cut out tonight. The power went out on your side. Yeah, I tried. I really tried. And I'd end up watching about 10 seconds and just going, ow, and then turned on something else.
Yeah, what I realize is the movie is a little slow. When a movie gets slow, I try to pay even more attention, because
you don't want to fall asleep.
No. Well, maybe a little. But sometimes that can actually, because you never know, obviously, the first time seeing a movie that starts out slow, you really don't know what that ending's going to be. So, some of them might get disappointed and go, well, that really was a waste of time.
I'll never get that hour 20 back.
But this one, it was, I try to pay attention to find the little, I call them cookies, where they're throwing little bits and pieces, even though it's slow, but it's really, and then when you get to the end and you finally get to the end of the movie, and then I sit down and I sit there and, and I think about it, what I saw, and then I go, okay, because if I hadn't been paying attention, that would have passed me by. So. And
what was the cookie that got you?
Honestly, the opening scene of the movie, where the young Dale, the father or the boyfriend murders the mother.
Oh, okay.
And then, we'll discuss more of it, but just to because I know you did see that part of the movie. That's really the first cookie, when she...
That intrigued you to hook on.
Well, when all of a sudden, the cop comes out and he goes, she's dead, and he's puking all over the place, and the next thing you know, the boy disappears, and he and her come back out on the porch. And I'm going, wait a minute, the cop just said she was dead, and she's covered in blood, and this, that, and the other, and boom, boom, boom. And I'm going, okay, I've got to pay a little bit more attention, and it was just sort of that was the first cookie to me.
See, now, and I remember thinking that was the back to my second question, have you ever died in a film or died and then didn't know it or something of that nature? Yeah. So, I mean, you're kind of there, but, but fill me in when we get to it. When we get to it, yeah. Let me jump in. This movie is called Come Back to Me. Came out the 25th of July, 2014. I don't know why I sound like Paul Leyden all of a sudden. I don't know what was happening there. And speaking of Paul Leyden, this movie was directed by Paul Leyden. And he is best known for, oh, my door almost blew in, by the way. So, ladies and gentlemen, if this show gets cut short, I'm putting it out as is, because I'm not doing this a sixth time. All right. The Young and the Restless, a TV series from 2010 to 2011. He directed them. And he also directed As the World Turns, the TV series from 2002 to 2010. Specific episodes, not completely all him, but he did some. This movie starts Katie Walder, also known as Sarah, and as you said in the movie, in the TV show Mad Men from 2013 to 15. She's also in How I Met Your Mother. She was also in Gilmore Girls from 2003 to 2007. Then you have Mr. Matt Passmore playing Josh. Nothing to date, nothing to note that he did that was so great. Nathan Keyes played Dale, nothing I could find interesting. Andrew Beckham played young Dale, nothing really I could find with him. But then we come to Steve Rizzo, probably the highest paid actor in the film. And he played the meth addict father, quite a stuntman too. He was in No Country for Old Men, which I love that movie.
And now for a quick movie plot summary.
And now...
I'm going to do a quick movie plot summary here, and just to touch, and then we'll, before I get into it, we will later in the podcast, I'll go through more specifics of the movie. Usually, we have a little bit more with a quick movie plot summary, but this time we're just changing up just a little bit. So,
okay.
Sarah and Josh are married suburbanites. After a car accident, Sarah suffers blackouts and ends up pregnant, though Josh is sterile. As her life spirals, she hides a camera in her home and unlocks a horrific secret with far-reaching consequences. Dun, dun, dun.
I actually have a sound effect for that, and I'll put it right here. There you go.
And now for the films that had followed the original.
And the films that followed? Nope. Not yet. As far as I know of the film, I would think that The Sixth Sense is probably the closest thing I can think of if it follows that type of guideline.
Not really, but okay.
Well, what do you have for goodies for this film?
Honestly, I really don't have a ton of goodies for it. It just, there's really not much out there. I can tell you the film goodies, it got like 20% favorable review ratings on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
That's my film goodies.
That's good.
No, it's not.
Tell me what I missed, because I did miss the rest of this movie, and explain what happens from the... Let's go back to the cop. The cop's there puking.
All right, for our listeners. Okay. So basically what happens is the scene opens and there's an adult man and an adult woman fighting, and the adult man pushes her back into the bedroom, and basically he kills her. Okay, there's blood splatter everywhere, everything like that. So the cops show up, they take him off, and a cop walks back into the room where she was murdered, and he comes out and he's puking, going, "She's dead." It's the most horrific scene I've ever seen. This guy really mutilated her really bad. Well, at the same time as he's doing that, you see a little boy, which is Dale, a young Dale, walk in there, and you get like this flash. I don't know, like a camera flash, I guess you could kind of call it. And the next thing you know, when the paramedics go in, as the paramedics are coming into the house, Dale and his mother, come to find out it's his mother, come walking out, and they were like, "Wait a minute!" They said you were dead. And then the movie flash forwards now to when Dale's pretty much, I don't know, a 20-something, 25-ish year old adult.
Right.
And
remember that?
Yep. And so that's when Josh and his wife Sarah move across the street from Dale, and you can automatically tell that Dale is kind of smitten with Sarah. So, and Dale is now delivers groceries for the local grocery store. So Sarah and Josh get into this car accident, and after this car accident, all of a sudden she starts having blackout spells where, she'll be doing one thing and the next thing you know, she wakes up and she's either in different clothes and she's a different part of the house, and she starts getting all freaked out. She goes and sees a friend of hers, Leslie, who's pregnant and is also, she's a doctor, and she's a pregnant doctor, friend of the husband, Josh.
Right.
So, and Leslie's like, yeah, that kind of started happening to me. And Leslie lives like a couple, 3-4 doors down from them, a while back, and, and everything. But after I got pregnant, it kind of subsided. And I think you're just having, stress and night terrors from the car accident.
Right.
So I'm trying to, obviously, I'm paraphrasing all this just to make it easy for our listeners and for you, because you seem to be very intrigued on the look on your face.
I'm listening and finding out where I left, and I think I am right here.
Yeah.
This is where I'm picking up.
So basically, this keeps happening, and this is kind of where it starts getting predictable. The movie starts getting a little predictable because, Sarah will be doing something, all of a sudden, wham, and she wakes up and she's in her underwear, and and she wasn't wearing that at first, and she's like, what the heck is going on? This, that, or the other.
She wasn't wearing underwear.
Yeah, okay. So, anyways, she goes back to finally see Leslie. She finally gets this weird feeling from Dale. So for some reason, she's feeling that something's connected with him, and there wasn't anything direct to kind of give her that. It's because I think Dale kept watching her, because her and her husband went away for a weekend, and she didn't have any night terrors or anything. It was like she was back to normal. But as soon as she got back, Dale was like, where were you? Like real possessive of her. Where did you go? So Sarah breaks into Dale's house, and what she finds are a bunch of Polaroid pictures of women posed like they're dead, including her. And the next thing you know, Dale comes in, and all of a sudden, pow, like that bright flash, and she wakes up and she's on her couch in different clothes, and she just chalked it up as a night terror again.
Yeah.
And so when she goes to visit... Oh, go ahead.
Was she wearing underwear?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Go on.
So Sarah goes back to visit the doctor, her friend Leslie. Mm-hmm. Well, while she's there, she sees that there's a pregnancy test. So she takes the pregnancy test, and she turns up pregnant. Here comes the debacle. At the same
Tracy Morgan. Got somebody up here pregnant. Go on.
Simultaneously, as she's taking this pregnancy test, the husband is getting a phone call saying that he is sterile. Yeah.
See, I would have turned the movie off again. But go ahead.
So she comes home and she says, hey, I have great news. You're sterile. No, because he hasn't told her yet. So she goes, I'm pregnant. And the first thing out of his mouth is, well, who have you been cheating with? So
obviously, yeah.
You're right.
He's going to freak out.
And she's like, what are you talking about? I've been with nobody, da-da-da. And he goes, look, I just heard from the doctor today. I'm sterile, so you can't be pregnant. And so obviously that creates the rift in the marriage. And he leaves. She's pissed off, everything to that effect. Well, these night terrors for the next couple of nights happen again and again, to the point finally where she puts a hidden camera in her bedroom. So
to try to document
try to figure out what the heck's going on.
And at this point, I'm figuring she's thinking that this is no longer dreamland. Something is happening.
Yes.
And she wants to catch it.
That's correct. She's trying to figure out what is going on, because she remembers little bits and pieces from like the night terror, but she just really can't get a full grasp on it.
Right.
So when she finally does the video playback, she sees Dale, while she's sleeping in bed, Dale, the kid from across the street, sneaks in and he murders her, literally, chokes her out, and then has sex with her. And then it looks like he's whispering something into her ear. After he has sex, he redresses her, cleans her up, lays her back in bed, whispers something into her ear, leaves the room, and the next thing you know, she sits straight up like she's coming up out of a dream. Okay.
Was it something like, you owe me $20?
No, it was,
okay,
come back to me. Oh, see?
That'd be a perfect title for... Oh, that is the title.
That is the title. So she freaks out, and finally showed the husband Josh. She shows him, look, this is what's happening. So basically, what happens is Dale figures out that she's recorded him because they confront him, and a big fight ensues. Okay, well, the husband Josh gets killed, and she begs Dale, please, 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 revive him. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And basically, I skipped to something, is that this girl reminds him of his mother, which earlier in the movie, she goes to visit at a psychiatric ward, and the mother tried to warn her, look, he'll never let you go. Anytime I've tried to kill myself, he's always brought me back. He has this special power.
So he has powers.
He has a power. So what Sarah does is she finally seduces Dale
Dingus
into bringing her husband back. Well, when that happens, her husband all of a sudden kills Dale. With Dale's power being now gone, all of a sudden, Leslie, who's pregnant, doctor, she drops dead. The baby drops. Anybody he's brought back. You see Leslie drop dead, then you see the mother drop dead, the husband then drops dead, and then Sarah drops dead. Okay.
Now, this is where I ask for forgiveness, because if it wasn't for that actress, I would have loved to see that entire movie.
That's why I said the ending
I like the storyline.
The ending is fantastic. It is well worth watching, getting through the slow parts, because it slowly does start to build.
It's a great idea. They should have worked on it faster.
I know.
To hook you in a little bit better.
It's a fantastic idea.
Better actors would have, like you, and I know I'll let you say that,
right?
Because you wrote that down. I can see it ahead. But you're absolutely right. If they had much better actors and people who could fulfill those, this is something that you throw big names into for something like this. Whoever wrote this film settled.
They really did.
They settled.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
that's a great idea.
You get some really big known. I mean,
would have been a great Twilight Zone, like a 1 hour special,
like a Mila Kunis. If you got her playing the part of Sarah, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that would be, because she could carry something like that, in my opinion. Probably, I don't know who to play the part of the father, but
get Jennifer Lawrence.
No, I think that would spoil. You need
Barbara Streisand and Bill Murray.
Yeah, there you go. It was really, I mean, it's a great concept of a movie.
It is. I like the idea.
Well,
how does it end then? Then everybody dies.
Everybody dies, but in the I guess the film trivia part at the very end, during the final seconds of the credits, you hear a baby cooing.
So a baby was born.
Leslie's baby, that was full pregnant. She was due to be. She had just had the baby, and after she had the baby, she died, and the baby lived because the baby was never brought back from Dale. So it makes you wonder. Does it leave it open for a part 2? Because now will this baby have Dale's powers? Because he's the father.
If they remake the movie with Universal or something, there'd be a part 2.
Yeah, or remaking the movie completely
with decent actors.
How about a little bit of movie trivia?
Well, let's talk about movie trivia since you've already kicked it off here. Can I say something really rude about the film?
No, go for it.
Do you know that Super Bowl tickets cost more than what it cost to make this movie?
This movie did not make a lot of money at all.
Super Bowl tickets cost more than what this movie made. It only grossed $4,156.
I don't remember it ever even being in a theater, so I think don't
either.
I think it was released in a very, very limited market, and I've never seen a DVD for it either. So I think it's Netflix only.
Well, that's the thing I was going to say. If it's something that also came out in the theaters 2 years ago during summer, I think it had some hard competition with like Age of Ultron. Didn't that come out last?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
and a couple other movies that would just squash the crap out of this movie.
Right.
Well, I didn't see this part, but I checked it out there in the trivia department of IMDb. But around 51 minutes into the film, when Leslie, and you've seen this, I haven't, when Leslie walks Sarah into the bed, through the bedroom doorway, you can see a person's arm holding Buster, the dog, until his cue when it was time for him to enter the room behind the two women. And
didn't
so
catch that.
basically, and he didn't get any credit at the end of the film, did he?
I don't know. I never. I didn't even hear the baby cooing at the end of the final credits because once the credits hit, I just turned it off. I don't care who starred in the daggone thing. I'll research that later.
But in its defense, I will pull up a film, Evil Dead. There's a monster scene where the monster's going through the woods and then goes flying through the house. And if you look closely, you will see the lighting racks up above. You'll see actors holding strings and crap up there. And you'll see Ted Raimi. He's hanging out on one of the posts, just leaning up against it. And that's how crappy it was filmed back then in the 80s. Sam didn't care. He didn't think anything would come of it.
It happens,
Cult
man.
classic now.
How many those old horror movies, that you all of a sudden see a little bit of the boom mic come down, It just...
I love seeing that.
They didn't have all the editing stuff that they have now. So where, and it wasn't, now just about everything's shot in digital, where it was all shot in what were they using, 8mm or whatever?
8 to 35,
Yeah.
and you can't wax out that, without using paint. I mean, someone's sitting there with a paintbrush trying to match the color of the wall behind it.
Right.
Trying to fill that in, or you'd see a little blob just appear.
Yeah.
I was watching Every Which Way But Loose. That's on Hulu with Clint Eastwood.
That is a great movie.
Great movie, but there's a ton of boom mics that come down during that film.
I like it where,
funny.
they'll have like a button or a pin on like a lapel, and then they'll switch cameras, and all of a sudden it's on the other side.
Oh, what they'll do is reverse it.
Yeah.
They'll reverse the film. The guy who was doing the editing accidentally put the reel on backwards.
Yep.
So all of a sudden you're seeing a mirror image, and that's what you end up with. It's pretty funny.
It's kind of funny.
It's time to go. Time for final comments.
This is called gabbing pertaining to the film.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've already said it. Great movie. Could have been better with much better actors, like you said. Anything else to improve this film? Anything else to sell to the people who are listening that this movie, and in my opinion, shouldn't be watched? I think just listen to Mike's definition and you've seen the movie, which is a great way. For the 3 minutes it took you to tell me that was more enjoyable than me watching that 30 minutes of that film because it drove me crazy.
No, I get it. I think if where they could improve is in the blackout scenes. You know what I mean? Because there were so many of them repetitive, and it became predictable that, all of a sudden things go dark and she was in the kitchen. Well, now she's in the living room, and, she blacked out in the garage and now she's up in the bathroom in the tub,
Yeah.
It just like, okay, she's going to black out, so she's going to wake. So you knew something was transpiring, which was okay. But I think they should have did a little bit more on her remembering maybe little bits and things,
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. But, I mean, like I said, if you want to take the chance and watch it, go for it. For me, it was well worth it because of the ending. Honestly, The ending is fantastic.
When does all that really kick in? Would you say like at a 45-minute mark? Because I might actually go back and pick it up to the
I
the
would
parts there.
probably say the last 20, 25 minutes of the movie.
When you see her set up a video camera,
Yeah,
is that the time to
That's about
get
right.
involved?
When she starts videoing the bedroom, that's where you want to fast forward it to, if that's what you want to do, Kevin.
Okay.
And it picks up from there for the ending.
I'm going to do that then.
Because there's a lot of dialogue I left out of it and all that stuff too. So
that was another reason that it kind of turned me off, was just at the talking. And there was a little bit of a... I know she's probably better in the other shows that she's doing, but she has to say what's written for her. So I'm guessing that it was written kind of teenagey. Because she was kind of...
They're young. I mean, they're like 22, 23 years old,
Yeah, it was kind of... But, man. Well, will or should there be a sequel?
I could see a sequel if, there's not going to be one because it did so bad.
I'll tell you that right now. It's not going to be a sequel.
Because it only made not even $4,200. But I could see a sequel because of the baby being born at the end.
That's what I was going to say, yeah. They gave hint to it. But they figured, but at that time they had no clue they were going to make $4,000.
Yeah, but you know what? I've seen worse movies that have made, hasn't made very much money either, and they've turned around and made sequels. So I don't know.
Leprechaun.
Yeah, I mean,
Leprechaun is on like 20, I think.
yeah. And the bad thing is, my youngest son is a huge fan of the Leprechaun movies. And I think the last one was like Leprechaun in Space.
Yeah,
and he
outer
said,
space.
Yeah, and he's like, Dad, they just ruined the whole franchise,
Well, they got to put him in space.
Well, yeah, they did it with Jason. I mean, from Friday the 13th.
Exactly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, next show that we do will be the Shinnin'.
That's when this little short dude with a shellacking cane comes up and smacks you in your shins.
I'm a shin. She hit me in the shinnin'. It's not a she, it's a he.
Leprechaun, the shinning.
That's right.
I'm coming to get me gold.
Borrow your food. Yes, The Shining. We're going to watch The Shining, especially because it's winter, at least up here. And it's a great winter movie. When it's cold out and you got a little bit of a breeze coming in, leave a window open, watch The Shining. Nothing better.
I'm going to have to
Are you a fan of The Shining?
Yeah, Shining's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Okay.
I guess mine after that, since you're doing The Shining for winter, I'll have to do Blood Beach down here for the sand, right?
That would be awesome.
I don't even know if I could
You'd
find
have to
that
do
movie.
Jaws.
I don't know if I could find Blood Beach to save my life. You probably never even heard of that
YouTube.
movie.
No, I have. Yeah. I've heard of that a long time. 80s, right?
Yeah, it's an 80s.
Okay. YouTube will probably have it, if anybody. Is that a fish on your cup?
Of course.
Yeah, it's really getting out of hand, Mike.
That's my Guy Harvey bass cup.
Well, real quick, before we go, I'm going to...
And now, tonight's horrifying music.
I have to ask you, and I do let me tell you what tonight's closeout music is, and then I'm going to ask you this question. I picked a song called You'd Come Back to Me because of the title of the movie.
Right.
And it's a band called The Crevulators, Mike Cobb and The Crevulators, and you can find them on Facebook. I cannot find a website for these people that I'm finding perfect names of songs for our show. But the song does fit our show pretty well for this particular episode. The Crevulators, kind of... Brian Setzer-ish type of music, but
cool.
More Harry Connick mixed in there. It's pretty good.
All right.
Kind of punky at the same time. All right, so Mike, before we go, how was your weekend at Daytona?
Oh boy, it was great. A lot. I would give everybody a quick background story. And Kevin knows this.
Yeah.
When Kevin and I met, we met because we both played guitar or played music. We played multiple instruments. He played, anything under the sun. I played, tried to play everything under the sun.
You did. Go ahead.
But anyways, and as I moved away from my music career, I went back to my second love, which was racing cars, in any form that I could get, from street racing all the way to track racing. Mm-hmm. So I've always been a closet redneck living in the city.
And I've seen him race, and he's really good at it. You did take me to one of your...
Yeah.
What was it? That wasn't kart racing. That was something else.
I don't remember.
Something higher, because I was just like, oh my God, Mike, slow down. You're going to kill yourself.
So anyways...
but you were good at it. Go ahead.
So I've always had a love for racing and a passion for racing. So when it was time for me to hang up my helmet, and I decided that I was going to go back into my third love, which has also been fishing, because I've been fishing since I've probably been about 6-7 years old. With the company that I work for, guiding, they do a charity tournament every year with the Darrell Gwynn Bonacotti Fund to raise money for to donate wheelchairs to people in need, whether it be children.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great organization. And
great charity, definitely.
So every year we do 2 events, one being the first of the year at Daytona, and the next one will be in November down at the championship race in Homestead. So we go to Daytona, and I've been to Daytona. I drove a stock car there. Averaged 175 miles an hour. I've crew chief there on go-kart teams for my buddy that still races, and just love the track. So we're standing there waiting. I'm waiting to find out. There's always a guest driver, and then what happens is the people that want to fish, the company sponsor, just send 2 people to fish with that driver. So last time I fished, I'm a name drop. I fished with Ryan Blaney, which was really cool. He's a young and upcoming driver. Drives the number 21 Wood Brothers Motorcraft Ford. Yeah, he's good. He's a good kid, humble. So as they're coming in, the ones that I didn't get to meet from the last time, I'm meeting, and I'm kind of starstruck because this is my thing.
It's a big deal to you.
This is a big deal to me. Huge deal. I know this is a long story.
Fishing and racing, right?
Yeah, fishing and racing at the same time, man. It's awesome.
It'd be like, if I can interrupt, that'd be like me meeting Steve Vai and he podcasted.
Correct. Correct.
That would be the same thing.
Absolutely. So,
all right, so go on.
The next thing you know, I see an older gentleman walk in, and I look, and I said, I recognize him. And lo and behold, it's Bobby Allison.
And I know that name, and I'm not a big...
Yeah, and his
NASCAR
brother
dude.
Donnie was with him, which was incredible. So these are 2 legends in the NASCAR circuits, both Hall of Fame inductees. Bobby Allison won a ton of races. He retired back in 85, I think it was, and everything. And so I walk over to him, to shake his hand, and I just wanted to get a picture with him. It wasn't about getting an autograph or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I asked him, I said, what boat number are you? And he said, I'm boat number 8. And I about fell to the floor because that was my boat number. So I'm going, oh my God, I'm going to fish with Bobby Allison. So, which I was just absolutely excited, and everything like that. So we find the 2 sponsors that are going to fish with us, 2 great gentlemen from Yeti Coolers. They were from their upper management. And so, we get them all on the boat, and the tournament starts, and, we go out and we start catching some fish, and, we finished 5th. It really wasn't about what position we finished in.
No,
this was all about raising money for these wheelchairs for this cause.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I was very, very honored. Bobby Allison caught the biggest fish of the day on our boat. And the cool thing, after it was all said and done, I said, Mr. Allison, it's been a pleasure, to meet you. And we talked racing on the boat and everything like that. And I had a million questions, and he answered everyone. He had a million questions for me about what I did guiding, which was kind of cool. So we traded questions back and forth. And then at the end of the trip, we bring him back, and we're doing our weigh in and everything like that. And, we shook hands, and I said, thank you so much. And he hands me his card, and he goes, this is my personal email. I want you to stay in contact with me and send me those pictures.
Oh, cool. And what is that email?
Haha, nice try. So
that's awesome.
That was awesome, and he said that he had a really good time, and he looks forward to fishing Daytona with me again next year. So that was awesome. Wow. It's not every day that you get to fish with a NASCAR legend. And
no, and it's especially if it's something that you can see it in your face. Your face is like glowing so bad. I got to turn down the brightness on my monitor.
All right, I got to explain this. A lot of our listeners are probably going, "Why is this guy talking racing? I don't know nothing about it." There are commercials out there, and everybody sees them. That during a race where you see 2 guys getting out of their car and they start fist fighting, and it's older footage back from the 80s. Okay, that's Bobby Allison and Cale Yarborough. That's what that fight right there actually is what made NASCAR what it is today, because that brought them to the forefront and made NASCAR this multi-billion-dollar, absolutely.
How did it do that?
Well,
how did the fight do that?
Okay, they were at Daytona.
Yeah.
His brother Donnie and Cale actually got together, but they really didn't. It's 3 different stories. So Bobby went over to see if his brother was okay. When Bobby got out, or as Bobby was getting out, Cale Yarborough hit Bobby in the face with his helmet, which busted Bobby's nose open. So Bobby got out of his car and proceeded to stomp a mud hole in Cale Yarborough. all of this was happening on national television live.
And there hadn't been a fight on NASCAR. Well, racing before.
Well,
NASCAR,
this was.
I guess, right?
I mean, these are back. I mean, these are two of the best drivers that NASCAR had. This was before Dale Earnhardt. You know, Richard Petty was still there.
Right.
But you know, the Allisons, but this is Richard Petty's heyday because Richard Petty ended up winning that race. But because of that, it got all this national attention about, man, did you see this live fight between these two, you know, redneck race car drivers?
So next week they're looking for a fight.
And no, well, not only that, it brought the marketing value just all of a sudden exploded for NASCAR. And all of a sudden now they're getting, because you couldn't always watch NASCAR on TV. You know, even when I was watching, it was, well, you hope you could catch a race on this channel, and it wasn't always guaranteed. And I can tell you there's many times I wrote nasty letters to our television providers going, hey, man, you said in the book that the race was going to be on and it wasn't on. What the frick is your problem?
That's someone who loves racing.
That's somebody who loves racing.
My dad, Bruce, my pop, he would have loved it.
Yeah.
Had all kinds of cars laying around the house.
Yep.
A big fan. Before he died, when he had cancer, my brother Andrew, you know Andrew?
Yes.
He paid for him to do that Tom Petty...
the Richard Petty
track.
Richard Petty, not
I'm
Tom.
so sorry, Richard Petty, Tom Petty. What the heck?
Running down a dream. Dun.
Don't come around here no more. Racing around that track, and it was great. Hey, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you very much for joining me again. I'm sorry that this movie was subpar for me and. A little bit more, but still kind of subpar for you. But it was a great story, like you said.
It's definitely a
fair?
good story. Yeah, it was fair. No, I mean, look, we're not always going to agree on movies.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and that's, you know,
what makes the show.
That's what makes the show. And
Definitely.
You state your case why you don't like it, and I state my case why I do like it. So
dang right. And then the judge, the listener.
The listener. So
That's
if you
right.
don't
And
like
what
it,
is
y'all can kiss. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Kiss my behind. So the next film we will be discussing is The Shining.
Yes, sir.
And please enjoy the Crevelators playing You'd Come Back to Me. Don't fall asleep when the Crevelators are around. You might get pregnant. Join us next time when Mike tries not to giggle. Go ahead, Mike.
I get up, I get down. All of Zerbinator's music and podcasts are under the Creative Commons license, which allows retelling and rebroadcasting as long as the author is notified and credited. For more great escape pods, please visit www.zerbinator.wordpress.com. If you would like to contact Zerbinatorland, you can send an email to instrumentally@gmail.com or give us a call at 571-408-ZERB or 9372.
Around 51 minutes, when Lindsay walks Sarah into the bedroom, to the bed, through the bed, son of a bitch, why can't I read? And I really tried. That's the part that pisses me off. I mean, I was really concentrating. This is why you shouldn't drop out of school. I went back, got my GED, but it doesn't make you proud enough to read sentences correctly. All right, here we go.